kind of take over the mayorship here. So I want to just riff on what Todd said about people's passion. So I was asked recently, God, what's going on with this mic? It's very limp, Jim. It's like this mic needs to be tightened up here. We can put this on the infrastructure plan. So, so I was asked recently, like, why would you serve on city council? Why would you want to be in public service? And the answer I gave is, it's the people in this community. It's like people bring incredible passion, intelligence, interest, time, effort, often their pocketbook, to make this community better. I've never seen anything like this anywhere I've ever lived in my life. I don't think you can find another community that's like Mill Valley. If there's something that needs to get done, there's a group of people that are there to kind of get it done, whether it's our downtown through the chamber, our SLPs, our library, our educational system, our fields, our recreation facilities, our creeks, our sustainability efforts in town, our sports leagues in towns. It goes on and on. The golf course. There's a group of people that will put their time and effort into making it happen. And that is incredibly inspiring. How can you not want to be part of public service when you've got a community that's so committed to making this town better? And that's because people love this town. When I meet people, when we, for example, convened this infrastructure group 2 weeks ago, you go around, you meet people, it's like, the first question that people ask is, well, how long have you lived in Mill Valley? So Lisa and I, we bought our house literally almost 24 years to the day. So we've been here 24 years. We bought our house in October 1999. We had a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old, and we're looking for a place to raise our family. And when I say that, well, we've been in Mill Valley 24 years, which, by the way, is longer than I've lived anywhere else by far. People are always like, well, it's nothing. I've been here 40 years. I've been here 50 years. Like, how do you get any respect around here, right? It's like 24 years is nothing. But I think it tells you a lot about your town. I mean, this is a town where people, they move here and they stay here. And why do they stay here? Because it's a great town. There's just nothing like it. It's got natural beauty. It's got arts. It's got a beautiful downtown. This is easily the best town in Marin. It's probably the best town in Northern California. It's one of the best towns in the country. And that's something that you can say is a fact. I mean, you can see Mill Valley listed in that respect many times. So that's an incredible thing that we get, that we can leverage. And, for us as public servants, that's an incredible attribute that we get to work with. We face a lot of challenges this coming year and in the next several years. But we start from an incredible position of strength. We are an incredibly strong city financially. We have a very low sales tax rate, the lowest, frankly, in the county. We have, over the years, made very strong investments in our infrastructure. You look at what's called the Pavement Condition Index, which is a measure of how strong your infrastructure is. Mill Valley is ranked 3rd out of 12 jurisdictions in Marin. The two that are better are tiny little towns. We got 70 miles worth of roads. The other towns have got like a very few number of miles of roads. We were one of only 2 towns in Marin that was able to reach its housing allocation in the 5th cycle, 2 out of 12. And we've got a housing element that's by far the most demanding that you can imagine. It's going to increase the number of new houses that we construct over an 8-year period by 600%. It's the most demanding housing plan that any communities had to put together in our history. So safety. We face a lot of issues with respect to safety, but we've taken out 420 tons of vegetation in the last 12 months. We've put in an acoustical, long-range acoustical device system for notifying residents. That's a first in Marin. It's one of the first in Northern California, to allow people the time that they need to get out of town when they need to. We have spent a lot of time over the last 4 years talking about diversity, equity, inclusiveness. This was not even an issue 4 years ago. When we ran for office, this was not even a question that we were asked. Now it's part of our work plan. It's part of what we do. Every single one of our commissions has got a diversity, equity, inclusiveness initiative and priority, things that we are trying to get done. This city has led from the front on all of those DEI. When Todd goes and meets with his counterparts in other cities, they want to know what Mill Valley is doing. We were the first one to establish a task force, first one to put together a work plan, first one to put together a police oversight committee, the first police group to report out our racial profiling data to the community. We've been leading from the front, and we continue to lead from the front on all of those things. Climate, our town over the last 8 years had the second largest reduction in greenhouse gases, second largest in the county. We put together, and I was the council lead on a climate action plan for the next 8 years, where we actually have the most aggressive greenhouse gas reduction targets over that period of time. So this is a town that's succeeded because this is a town of strivers. It's not just city council, it's not just the city management, it's the city and the people that live in this city, the people that are here in this audience tonight, maybe watching at home, maybe not even aware that this meeting is going on. But this is a city of strivers that push our city to achieve a lot more than we otherwise could with 130 employees. Over the next 15 months until the end of 2024, you're going to hear about a number of things. I'm not going to go through our entire work plan. It's on the city website. We might just do a community chat just to kind of update everybody and kind of answer any questions about it coming up. But I do want to highlight a few things that I think that are important for everybody to know. First of all, the mayor, the former mayor, mentioned infrastructure task force. So 2 weeks ago, Stephen and I, together with the city manager and staff, headed, frankly, very much by Lynn, launched an effort, a blue ribbon panel, to look at our infrastructure needs and how we're going to go about funding it. This is things like, how do we ensure that water, when it rains, leaves the town? How do we ensure that our roads don't collapse? How do we ensure that we don't have landslides? How do we keep people in this town safe? How do we reduce vegetation so that we can, prevent fires? How do we improve our parks? What plans might we have for the golf course, the golf clubhouse buildings, the library, all of these things, right? So we have tasked this task force of 15 people to look at all of these issues, what we are going to fund, how we are going to go about funding it, and to come back to the city council in December with a recommendation. If they recommend that we proceed, we'll spend all of 2024 getting ready for a ballot initiative, spending around that. And it's exciting. I mean, it will transform the city in a very positive way. And it'll be the most significant thing, I think, that any one of us will be involved with in our time on council. So that'll be a big thing that you'll be hearing a lot about. And it's a very positive thing. It's to improve the quality of life for people in Mill Valley. It's to improve your safety. It's to improve the natural beauty of the city, and to ensure that the city remains as successful and as precious as it has been for the last 120 years. Secondly, the mayor mentioned how proud he is about what we've done with affordable housing. So we are, I think, the first city, the only city perhaps in Marin County, where the city itself is the lead agency in creating workforce housing. The city of Mill Valley is the lead agency for Hamilton Drive. We're doing that. And that's to create workforce housing. Why? Because people travel over an hour to get here to work in our downtown. And 80% of our workers travel from outside of the county to work here. That's not sustainable. So over the next 12 months, we will be finalizing the design for that. We will be finalizing the financing for that. And we'll be getting ready to break ground, assuming everything goes according to plan. Over the next 12 months, you'll see us identify a second city site in a different part of town where we'll do a second workforce housing project. You will see all of us working together with private land developers on their housing plans. So we have a housing element. It calls for 865 units to be built in Mill Valley, primarily along the major transportation corridors like Miller Avenue. And that's all going to be primarily led by private developers. And how do we go about incentivizing? How do we go about problem solving each one of those things so that people can actually go about creating this housing? We're going to be creating overlays on our zoning to incentivize development in these areas. But this is all new. Honestly, we have to problem solve our way through these things to figure out where the bottlenecks are. And all of us are going to be working on that. And if we're successful, you'll see a number of positive developments take place that I think will make our city more vibrant, more lively. It'll allow young people to move into the city for the first time because It'll be less expensive for them. It'll allow people that are aging out of their homes to stay in Mill Valley, not to have to leave because they can't afford to be here any longer. So it'll make a more cohesive community. It'll hopefully make a more diverse community. What we want to try to achieve in Mill Valley is not a rich enclave, but a real town, a real small town. And a real small town is a town where everybody can afford to live here, where you've got diversity in income and all other forms of diversity that make it a reflection of what America is really like. And that's our goal. We want to be a small town, and that small town that we all aspire Mill Valley to be. We're going to be making changes and improvements to encourage business vitality. There'll be things coming to council having to do with how we use our outdoor spaces, the times that we can use it, the amount of amplitude that can be involved with those outdoor spaces, the number of times they can be used, the parking standards that we use in town. We also want to be involved in the streamlining of new businesses, the CUP process in town, so that it's easier for businesses to open up. People have mentioned the number of open storefronts. This town, like every town, faces the threat of Amazonation. That's just the problem that every single town in America has got. And we've got to outcompete everybody else to keep businesses here. So we want to encourage businesses to open up here. We want to open up our door to allow businesses to open up here and to thrive here. And that is a priority for us, because there's no small town without a downtown. You have to have a downtown if you want to have, quote, small town character. That's an essential part of what Mill Valley is. And keeping our downtown vibrant and lively is really important to the future of the city. Traffic. We are going to be having a discussion here on City Council about renaming and repositioning what we call our Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee. That's a committee that's been focused specifically on bicycle and pedestrian access. We have in our town no committee that deals with traffic. Right? You have an issue with traffic, you want to improve traffic, you want to improve transit mobility. There's no agency, no commission that's the lead for that thing, and that's a problem. So we're going to talk about rebranding that and refocusing our BPAC into the Transit and Mobility Commission. And it's going to be focused specifically on improvements to traffic and improvements to mobility in our city. All of the things, not just surrounding bikes and pedestrians, but everything having to do with that. And we're going to be listening to, over a course of time, if this is successful, those things that we can do to try to improve those things. And it's hard. This is going to be the hardest thing to change, because we have very few options, but we at least want all those options to be on the table so that we can have a good community dialogue about what we can do to improve. Because when you bring in 865 new housing units into the city, you are increasing the population, and we have got bottlenecks that we need to deal with. And those are not just safety issues, but those are quality of life issues. And then finally, and this is going to be a big thing, and this is one of the things that attracted me most to Todd, is we're going to be talking a lot about governance and how we govern. We started in the spring a process of having community chats. We basically open up City Hall in the afternoon on a day. It's well publicized. You can watch it on Zoom, right? You can basically, follow along. You can even ask questions on Zoom. And it's an open house. There's no time limit. You can come and you can speak. If you want to speak for 5 minutes, you can come and speak for 5 minutes. You tell us what's on your mind. You ask questions. We talk about everything. This is all about access. This is all about complete transparency. This is about us being here for you. And that's the message that we're trying to send. We are all 5 of us, available for everybody in the community. If you've got a problem, I want you to write to us. But I'm telling you, if you write to me and you've got a list of things that you want to talk about, better include your telephone number, because I'm going to give you a call. And if you don't include your telephone number, I'm going to find your telephone number. And people know that I'm good on my word on that, because during all of the issues that we've had over the last couple of years, when people got angry and they wrote to us and they called me out personally, I found their telephone number and called them. And the first thing they usually said is like, well, I didn't expect you to call. Well, that's what you got, right? So, and we talk, and when at the end of 5 minutes, people are saying, thank you very much for calling. It's been really helpful. We can answer, you've answered a lot of my questions. So making ourselves available, accessible, transparent is really important, because trust in your government is essential. We work collectively together with you, and we need you to trust us, and we need you to give us your best ideas, because again, it's all about community, and the best ideas, frankly, come from the community. So those are some of the things that we're going to be working on. I'm not going to lie, I'm super excited. This is going to be fun. We're going to make, I think, a lot of progress. We have an ambitious work plan. If we do 100% of it, it will be amazing. If we do 80%, it'll still be probably one of our most productive years, I think, that we've ever had. It's a really good plan. It covers everything. As Todd Lexa says, it covers the four corners of our society. And I think it'll make a big improvement in our operations as a city, and I think it'll set the stage for what we're going to be doing in successive years. The great news is, after a period of some instability, we now have, I think, a stable government here. We've got a new city manager who's been in the seat for 13 months, who understands what he needs to do. He's bringing in his team of people in the various departments that are very solid, that have great experience. I am super excited about my four council members. This is a great group, and you're looking probably most likely at the next four mayors here. So we have now a period of stability coming up that allow us to work and transition through all of these issues over time. So that's all I've got to say. I know that was my brief 3-minute comments, but I'm looking forward to making our meetings long again, Jim, because they've been too short.
You can start having 5-minute open public time.
And with that, if I go back to the agenda, let's see, we've got on the agenda for tonight. Next item is council requests and ideas for discussion. Are there any?
I'd like something cold to drink.
I've spoken to the city manager and previous mayor about the potential of bringing a anti-Semitism resolution to a future meeting.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes. Okay, good. So with that, I'm going to adjourn this meeting, and we're going to enjoy some cake and hopefully some drinks.